You are now listening to the Peter and Jake Talks Wrasslin podcast, a weekly review of Monday Night Raw and other wrestling-related topics. And here's your hosts, Peter Day and Jake Grandi.
Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Hello, hello.
Buddha monks in the trunk, turn the bass up. Hello, boys and girls. You are now listening to the Peter and Jake Talks Wrasslin podcast. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Peter?
It's been a week of just saving money.
Yeah, I hear that, man.
Just saving money and trying to catch up on all the wrestling and all the wrestling news that's been happening over the past week.
For sure.
And the elephant in the room right now, if we just go ahead and go right into it, is the Hogan scandal. Now, did you and Fritz get to talk about it?
I think it happened Thursday morning, or I found out about it at least Thursday morning. So the podcast had already gone up and everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Fritz just texted me, and he said Hogan's gone from Tough Enough, and I was like, why? And pretty much told me why. He just went on some like racist rant. I didn't realize that it was on his sex tape that came out a few years ago.
It was connected to the sex tape, yes.
Yeah, so I kind of just saw the backlash happen. I didn't watch the video. It kind of upset me just to even hear that happened, so I didn't want to like look into it and like listen to it. I just kind of hung my head down low, and like I'm known as like the wrestling guy for all my like friends at work and stuff, so a bunch of people asked me about it, and I told them I really didn't know about it. But that is what sort of shocked me the most, is how much mainstream coverage it got. I thought like the WWE would talk about it a little bit, but I didn't know like everyone knows now.
It was two-ply, especially going into this Oklahoma City show.
Yeah. It's
the fact that it's not a smarky place.
Mm-mm.
Now, take what WWE did, they got in front of it. There was no, like, public outcry. There was no, like, pitchforks or no burning crosses and shit and, like, tar and feathers. It was, like, as soon as they got the news from the National Enquirer, I think someone actually got the news to them first, so they can take action, or they got someone on it or some shit like that, but they went on and did the deed. He did the job basically and got taken off. And I don't know if I did like a little, like you said, you had your friends. You're the wrestling guy, so everyone's coming to you. It's like, well, this isn't necessarily wrestling news.
Exactly.
As much as
Hogan,
Donald Sterling, that wasn't really sports news. Mm-hmm. That was social news within the sports world, like even the Ray Rice situation. Or even, what's that Southern cook chick?
Oh, I forget her name with the gray hair.
Dean?
Paula Dean.
Yeah. Like that wasn't news in the cooking world.
Exactly. It's just like kind of out there.
Mm-hmm. It's basically a social justice affair, basically. Mm-hmm. But I did like a little special commentary on it.
Well, what do you think?
The first one I thought is because of the interview with DJ Who Kid. There was two conversations. Mm-hmm. The first one that made it out, the one that I woke up Thursday morning and checked my phone and saw, was an interview he did with DJ Who Kid. And he threw the word, and I'm saying this in context, guys. He said nigga a lot. DJ Who Kid, and I'm black, by the way. Not saying it is justifiable, but it's like, even outside of context, if Jake just started saying nigger, I figure y'all, it'd be a problem. Maybe to some people. But DJ Who Kid asked him, it's like, hey, man, so do you ever, I know you say brother a lot, but anyone ever come up to you and say, what up, my nigga? Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then he just goes into, like, this thing, like, he goes into the Booker T clip.
Yeah.
He's like, Harlem Heat, they're talking junk, and it's like, Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you, nigger. And it's like, but that wasn't the problem. This is what made it out first, and I think I was one of the first people, that was one of the first things I heard, and I made my assessment on that video. On that clip, right? So I'm thinking, and there's a part in there where he's like, I say the word all the time. I said it, but now I get heat when I say it. So I thought when the WWE, from just this thing alone, like this radio interview alone, I thought that phrase right there got his ass in trouble, right? Mm-hmm. But come to find out, and I put my video out, everything.
Yeah.
Arthur actually hit me up.
It's like, no, it's the Gawker clip.
He said, well, he was like, oh, man, I'm confused. I thought it was about what he said about Brooks' boyfriend. So,
wait, is what? Brooks' boyfriend a black guy?
Well, at that time, we're talking 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
This is from 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
This was when he basically fucked, what's his name? The Bubba
Sparks?
No. He was like I think he's like a wrestling guy.
Oh, Bubba the Love Sponge?
Yes.
Oh, he's a radio host, and he happened to, and Hulk Hogan and him were friends, so Hogan was on his show a lot, and then he did a brief run in TNA, but that's all I know of Bubba the Love Sponge.
Well, he basically pimped his wife out. That's what the whole sex tape's all about.
What?
So you're just not finding out about this?
I knew that the sex tape happened. I knew that him and Bubba the Love Sponge were like strange acquaintances, but I didn't know
it was that strange.
Yeah.
So yeah. But you know that happens in wrestling all the time. Like,
sure.
Like wife swapping, and in the wrestling world, I mean, I imagine a good majority of the guys have done that. So this is when Hogan was going through his rough period. His son was going through that shit. His wife had left him, and I think Bubba was just like, yo, just fuck my wife. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And So I don't know whether it was the sex tape itself. I don't know whether it was like, say, somebody who did it was surveillance. And someone took the clip and sold it. It was like, fuck this job, you know, on some Ray Rice, security guy shit, and or it was a hidden camera. But within that sex tape, this transcript of it is basically him talking about how his daughter isn't following his advice, and he started dating. She's dating a black guy who's not rich. So the transcript, I mean, this is loose.
Yeah.
You know? It's a shame that he's dating this nigga. This nigga isn't even rich. At least she could at least date like a 6'10" nigger, and then he would actually be like a professional athlete nigger, some shit like that. You know, like just straight, like to the point.
Yeah.
Thing. And the lawsuit, I'm finding out. This is like, it's funny because it started off as just a sex tape and Gawker and Hulk Hogan going back and forth, and there was $100 million settlement. I mean, like, that's what Hogan was going for because it's been in court. And for some reason, and this is like me just doing research and listening to different podcasts and different information, apparently the Gawker guy, now he's claiming that he has no part in what's happening now with the transcript of him saying some racist shit.
Mm-hmm. But Hogan has come out and he said that
it's true.
Yeah, they leaked the clip.
Yeah, he said it's true, but he's saying that the Gawker people are saying like, no, this has nothing to do with us. But you could say basically that it's it's funny how they're coming to like the end of all of this shit, and they had an ace up their sleeve. Exactly,
yeah.
And so, okay, not only, I mean, because they actually was settled out of court. They had a negotiation set up and everything to where, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is how we're going to take care of you. This is how we're going to take care of. Hogan rejected it, and he wanted to take it to trial. So as soon as the preliminaries of going into trial, putting it in court, that's when all of this shit went down.
Damn.
So when I found out about this, I actually took my video down, took the audio down,
mm-hmm.
and re-recorded a new one about basically accountability and the fact that for what the WWE is doing, I don't fault them for that whatsoever. I think in this day and age, in terms of tolerance, especially when you're dealing on like, you know, a big business level.
Yeah, for sure.
If you are out, right, you got your Facebook, you got your Instagrams out, and you out acting a fool, and someone
get you, yeah.
You're fired.
You're got, yeah.
You're fired. You're like, no one has time. This person does not represent who we are. And that goes across the board from anyone from a lower level to a high level. It's just that we're not as high profile as, say, a Hulk Hogan.
Or any of those.
You know? Or Paula Deen, you know? Or Jonah Hill, for that matter.
Yeah.
You know, since he got caught, you know...
freaking out and saying, faggot.
Yeah, because the paparazzi people... Has he been in a movie since Jump Street?
Has he been in a movie since that? Shit.
Because that was part of his apology tour. He was supposed to go and promote the movie, but it ended up being an apology tour.
Yeah, I didn't even make that connection. I don't know if he's been in a movie since, but that definitely hurt his career for sure.
Oh yeah, hurt him big time. And maybe he'll be back, but I think it's two things you never want to be called, and they both begin with R.
Yeah.
A rapist and a racist in today's society. Not so much sexist, because that's all kind of it's arbitrary what's considered sexist or not, you know. But between, say, what's happening in the environment with blacks being killed by cops, what's happening in St. Louis, what happened in Maryland, Trayvon Martin, in the air, this thing, what happened to this Bland chick now?
The lady in Texas?
Yeah, the Bland chick. You know, over the past couple of years, say 5 years, it's just been...
It's kind of spiraling out now that the cops or police officers have cameras and everything. I think it's just being unveiled. There's actually, I listened to a Joe Rogan Experience. He had a Baltimore police officer who leaked a lot of information out. And now he's shunned. He can't pretty much have a job anymore just because he was talking about the police brutality, and he got pretty much blackballed.
Oh, the cop?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. And it's funny, too, because they'd be more likely to protect the guy who killed someone than, say, someone who's putting out the truth.
Yeah.
But I guess the point I make is that our environment right now, especially when you have something like this, and it's not as much of a big deal. This is someone's character. This is, this is Hulk Hogan. He's this big. He's Michael Jordan. You know, he's Michael Jackson.
People that don't know what wrestling is really know who Hulk Hogan is.
80 place in the world.
Yeah.
China, Antarctica, they know who Hulk Hogan is.
Oh yeah.
And his high profile, he has a level of responsibility.
He already was supposed to be on 2 cameo movies that got edited out. He got edited out of. He got fired from Tough Enough. And but I think since then, Virgil and Kamala have come out and been his advocates, saying they've known him for years and he's never been racist. And
yeah, in front of them.
Yeah,
I mean a person's true self is in his most vulnerable state, his most comfortable moment. How I interact with you, how you interact with me, is how we are just cordial to one another. And just speaking just in general in society. You always find out when shit hits the fan is in the most vulnerable situations. That's when people show their true selves. Whether it's someone, having an affair, whether it's someone saying some shit when they thinking the camera or mic is off, whether they're around their friends and someone's Instagramming and Snapchatting and Twittering and shit. I mean, we're on a 24-hour news cycle, and this thing in my hand, this phone, your phone.
Yeah, we got about 4 or 5 computers in this room.
Yeah, but and at the same time, we have people who make careers out of gathering information and putting it out with TMZ.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Media Takeout, Gawker. It's 24/7. So if you're someone who is as high profile as say someone like a Hulk Hogan, we love you, Hulk Hogan, but we didn't expect or like this part of you.
Do you think he can come back from it? I know he's been slipping at last few years.
If he shuts the fuck up, if he gets out of that, I mean, for me, it's kind of hard for me. You open up he opened up a Pandora's box of his character for me. So I'm fuck that guy. This is how you see blacks. And I mean, and granted, there's a lot of hypocrisy rolling around with the decision that the WWE made. You take a guy like Michael P.S. Hayes,
who's still there and said a lot worse.
Yeah, you take the Alberto Del Rio situation,
Sure.
and you take it's on and on and on, and then you just take the state of wrestling. You remember like last year when there was a piece that came out. I'm not sure if it was Bleacher Report or the New York Times, and it was about the state of like racial affairs in wrestling and how there's never been an African American
WWE champion.
Yeah. And then that set off a firestorm in terms of race relations of what was going on.
What about The Rock, right?
Rock's Canadian and Samoan.
No, his dad's black. Rocky Johnson.
His dad is Canadian.
African American. Okay,
he's African Canadian.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you say African American, like black. It's not like Rocky Johnson's background came from say
America.
American slavery or anything that matters.
Yeah.
Maybe, but like that's not his legacy. His legacy isn't coming off a boat.
Yeah.
His legacy is fucking chopping down wood and running down deer, and his mom's Samoan. So you talk about just an African American. You got WCW. You had
Ron Simmons,
and then you had
now you have Ring of Honor, Jay Lethal,
Booker T.
Yeah,
he held it, but in terms of WWE, and then you just say, well, why is that? What is the environment in terms of how blacks are considered, or Latinos for that matter? What's the deal? So you look at a guy like Hulk Hogan who makes these statements, who's a guy from come on, man. He's an older guy. He's an old white dude from Texas? Where's he from?
He's from I think he's from California, but he's moved around.
Yeah. Anybody from that age down, who's to say? It was accepted to be that way at one point.
Yeah, at one time his statement was probably like 30 years ago, probably real progressive, but now it seems like people have caught up, and now it's hasn't moved on. I think that's the problem, is that he doesn't realize what he said because he stopped.
Oh, well, he realized.
Well, now, but
you have to still take into consideration this was a private matter, and hey, you got caught. I don't care if it was private or not. We'll see what happens, but for now, for WWE, I think it's best for business to distance themselves. He was taken off the Hall of Fame website. He was taken off the website.
Oh,
and
really?
Then, I'm not sure he was definitely taken out of the Hall of Fame or not, but he was taken out of the...
I think taking him out of the Hall of Fame would be too much, but definitely, I don't know, give him a break, definitely, and that's all you can do, really. The Miz has replaced him on Tough Enough, and then Shawn Michaels has replaced him on these promotional tours they do. So I think that they handled it well and quickly, and the W machine's big, so it can keep on moving. We're probably going to have to be reminded of this in 3 months,
Yeah. And I was listening to Wade Keller on the way here, and it's like, well, they're not taking him out. A question came in, are they just going to fully erase him? It's like, no, he's too big of a chunk of their history.
Oh, yeah.
But they will remove things that are, because everyone else is involved. You look at this Bill Cosby issue of taking down the Cosby Show and all that stuff. It's like, well, there's other people affected that are working who don't get their residuals anymore because they've associated the Cosby Show to Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Felicia Rashad, fucking Theo Huxtable, all those guys,
Rudy.
Those guys are fucked because of...
I didn't even think about that. That's totally true. Because of the association to Bill Cosby and the Bill Cosby Show. Say, take Hulk Hogan for that matter, Andre the Giant, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, who also has his moments. Yeah.
But Chris Benoit, it's not like they whipped him out completely from, say, WWE content. So they're just they took down The Rock and wrestling, anything that's associated with him directly.
Specifically.
Yeah, specifically. And not necessarily it's not like, that Rock match in WrestleMania 18 is going to be wiped out. It's like, no way.
Yeah. I think, they handled it, the best way possible. Just get him out of the public eye, lose association with him, And if something happens in the future that you can maybe do with him or you want to, then that's the future. But for right now, I would just disassociate myself with him and wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, future endeavors. And, the guy needs the money. That's the thing. And for me, I say personally, like fuck him. I say fuck him. I mean, it's not like I hope he doesn't come back. This is all WWE, Like, if they decide to bring him back, I'm going to be indifferent.
Would you cheer him if he came out? Like, at the Greensboro Coliseum, we pay for a show.
I would.
Depends on the storyline?
He sees me as not human. He sees your girlfriend as not human.
Yeah.
He thinks differently of blacks. It's not like, over time. He said this 8 years ago. He said it 18 years ago. He said it 28 years ago. This is a person who he is. And, take it for what it is. He doesn't see anybody of color as human. And that speaks volumes to me. I mean, as a black guy.
Yeah, no.
Shit. Yeah. It's just like, imagine, dude. Either your Fritz, your Uncle Fritz, or your dad, you caught wind of a conversation he had about your girlfriend. That would hurt like hell, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be a bummer, yeah.
That would hurt like hell. And, what is the forgiveness? Where it...
You kind of have to, like, forget about it a little bit, but yeah, like, if you're... There's nothing really to... Yeah. There'd have to be a monumental event that would have to... That make people change, like...
Like death. Like disease. Like a huge accident. I mean, we're talking borderline life or death situations to change someone's mind and of someone's character, someone's mindset. It's like, how do I feel bad? How do I get over this? Well, the love part is what brings you together. And nothing brings love like death. Nothing brings love like disease. Yeah. Nothing brings love like, fatal, like, paralyzed, anything like that, where it's like, this is my blood, regardless of how he feels. We're still family, but that's your family. That's your blood family. WWE is kind of their legacy. Hogan is they don't have to. They don't have to reconnect with him.
No, I mean, I don't think they have to, but I think history has shown that they will. I mean,
of course.
Yeah, like...
Just the Warrior thing.
The Warrior thing, Bret Hart, I mean, Jim Ross time and time and again. I mean, Hogan left for WCW and tried to run him out of business for years. So I think if they can make money off of him...
Well, I'm talking about, like, hard-hitting sort of, what the fuck are you saying, Warrior, about gays? What the fuck are you saying, bro? Like, or Chris Benoit, like, what the fuck, man? You just killed your family, bro. Like, what the fuck? That's what I'm saying. Not necessarily people going back and forth, jumping ship to other promotions. I'm talking about things that are, to a certain degree, unforgivable. You look at Heath Slater, who got,
rape allegations.
Yeah, but, he beat it. Mm-hmm. But I still think he's damaged goods.
Yeah, they're probably not going to throw him out. Yeah, I mean, just think about when that happened, what he was doing compared to now. He was in, like, leading. I mean, it was a comedy faction, but still a faction, 3-man band. And now that kind of all happened and fizzed out, they kind of just, he'll show up on Superstars, but they don't really do much with him.
But even something as simple as a DUI with Weed and Jack Swagger and how that affected, or Emma, but those were just screw ups that are just like slap on the wrist, like, dude. Well, not so much Heath Slater, but Emma, Jack Swagger, even Orton to a certain extent. But with Hogan, no one has time for that kind of mentality,
Yeah.
And you take a guy who didn't even say the word nigga, as in Donald Sterling, who had his team taken from him. Like, basically, he was forced to sell it. He didn't even say it. It was just his demeanor towards... he saw blacks as less human. No one has time for that, especially, with Caitlyn Jenner and all that shit going on. And it's like, people are coming correct. If you agree with it or not, doesn't matter. But in terms of business and association, you want no parts of that fucking... You just don't. As a company, you know.
Totally, yeah. Did you see any Ring of Honor or the Death Before Dishonor?
Talk about a smooth transition. Well, before we go into that, let's go into Raw. Let's go into Raw.
Okay.
Because before we turned on the microphones, we were talking about how it was kind of like it was a good show, but it was quite forgettable. And what were you saying?
Yeah, it was a good show, good matches and everything. I think I liked every match, but no real storylines progressed. They all kind of just like stayed stagnant. They did announce that SummerSlam would be 4 hours.
Oh, God.
Which I think is a bit of an overkill for a SummerSlam. I guess they're trying to make a second WrestleMania kind of weekend.
In Brooklyn, yeah.
Yeah, but I just think it's a bit of an overkill with you already have the one NXT show, and then you have the 4-hour SummerSlam.
And then a pre-show.
So a 5-hour show.
But that's the thing. Are they going to cut out the pre-show? I haven't heard any specs on that.
I hope, man. I think it's just too much wrestling. Like, no one's going to be able to sit down for 5 hours and remember everything that happened. And this is supposed to be your big show where you're supposed to have no lulls. You're supposed to have, event after event after event. So a 4-hour show, there's going to be a lull, which is something you don't want.
Unless there is a 1-hour Iron Man match.
You think Brock and Taker? Or?
No, Lord, no. If Taker goes 15 minutes, that'd be a shocker.
Yeah. You think Cena Rollins?
Iron Man match? Actually, I see more if they go with Cesaro
and Owens.
I see that being more of an Iron Man match, like a tough man match between two tough son of a bitches.
Yeah.
And it would... But you have to be careful where you have it if that's the case. You got to be super careful because an Iron Man match will burn the average person out.
Yeah, I can't see them doing an Iron Man match unless it's the main event because a WWE crowd especially would get burned out. They would not. And in Brooklyn, they would probably turn on the matches afterwards just out of just being tired of wrestling.
Oh yeah, of course.
So,
but yeah, that 4 hour when I heard that, I was like, man, that's a real bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we just to go into it, it was in Oklahoma City, and the whole theme, you get the classic 15-minute opening promo from Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, the Authority.
I liked how they announced the matches that were going on tonight on the show.
I thought it was something different.
Yeah, I guess that just gave him a reason to get out there to then have John Cena come out just to put together the main event, which was Rollins and Cena for the U.S. title, for the U.S. Open Challenge. And I think this U.S. Open Challenge is probably the best thing on Raw because, like, last year, I would say, when it was a bad Raw, it was just a bad Raw. But at least we know we're going to have one good match involving John Cena, nevertheless.
But I can't put everything. It's the fact that he's in those matches and he's able to hold his own. I can't say that he is the reason why those matches are good because if you go down the list of the people he's been facing, Neville, Zayn, Owens, hell, even who else came out?
Stardust, Heath Slater.
Those weren't so great.
I mean, those were enjoyable. I think him and Stardust were good. Dean Ambrose, I think, was the first one.
Yeah, and Cesaro. But you're talking about good workers in general. It's a whole generation before him of wrestlers that are fighting him that have a whole new approach.
Yeah,
and I think he's just able to hold his own. But he's able to hold his own well enough to where we go, man. And you said it yourself, like, you're surprised at a guy at his age and he can rest on his laurels.
Yeah,
he totally could, but he doesn't. So I guess the discussion now is: do you find it ironic that Cena is back in the title picture for the world belt?
This seems to happen like every summer. I guess they kind of like take him away and they bring him back right around summertime. Like I remember last year he won like the 2-belt thing at on the Money in the Bank. So I think they just kind of get scared every summer watching those numbers drop. So they just threw him up there. And title versus title is kind of like the hot thing to do right now with like Ring of Honor doing it and all this stuff. So I think it just kind of fell into their laps, this storyline. And nothing really for Rollins to do. I mean, you could have him wrestle Kane, but, like, I don't really know who you want him to feud with. So I think Cena just kind of fills that void. And, I mean, that just seems to be, like, their go-to when the ratings dropped. And the ratings dropped, like, to record lows, like, a month ago. So.
Yeah, and it's their fault. I remember a discussion we had about the whole Rollins thing, especially... I think it was tied into him losing the curb stomp and him taking the pedigree.
Yeah.
And I think in your fantasy booking, you were saying that there was a possibility that he would face Triple H at some point.
Yeah, I see that as the obvious feud. You know, you turn Rollins' face. He already gets cheered by half the crowd anyways, and you just have, like, maybe...
He wrestles like a fucking face.
Yeah, he can do...
He's an idiot. Like, I got so mad.
He busted Cena up.
No, but, like, that... The high-flying stuff. It's the high-flying stuff. You know, right now WWE has an issue with figuring out who's the heel and who's the face.
Yeah,
we got so many. We got so many cool heels. We got so many smart marks that are rooting on people like Bray Wyatt. You got people rooting on Seth Rollins. You got people rooting on. Who else is like a heel?
I mean, I wouldn't say he's technically a face, but Finn Balor, like in NXT, is like he's got to let the demons out, and if he dresses up, if he's like a demon, then he wins the match. I mean, that seems kind of like that was a heel.
Nah, I think that's more like show business though, because he doesn't fight like a heel. A heel thumb to the. You saw the Silas Young match in the ROH.
It was great.
That one move where he grabs the ref. He grabs the ref, puts him in the way of that dude. That dude's too vanilla for my. What's his name?
Mike Ferrara?
Yeah, can't stand it. I can't stand it. It's too vanilla. But he grabs the ref, and then when the ref's there, he thumbs him in the eye. And I go, that's what I'm talking about. That's how a heel should fucking perform. Now, you take Seth Rollins in this match with Cena, he loses doing a fucking Falcon arrow.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do? He does a fucking suicide dive. What are you doing? Like, this is not how you should be fighting. You should be doing any and everything in your fucking power to get over being a dirty fuck. But that's the problem with Seth Rollins' character. The substance is lacking in who he actually is and how he performs as a wrestler. You know? Mm-hmm. Really? You really think that I'm going to boo you as an asshole if you're going to hit the Falcon's arrow?
I think J&J was a big part of that, and they got them out of there. I think having those little guys there did create a dynamic to every Seth Rollins match, because he had these guys pretty much there cheating for him, like, you know, manager or what have you. But since he lost J&J, there's really no part that makes him a heel, just that you just kind of know the backstory and the history of him. You want to boo him, but if I was just tuning into Raw, you wouldn't really know why he was getting booed or know why he was seen as cowardly at all. Like, you just see him as the champ.
And he's never been positioned as an underdog.
Well, when he ran away from Brock...
That's Brock. Brock is the only thing, obviously.
Yeah, that's true. Well, because he always had the authority. He always had J&J and Kane and everything.
Unlike Rusev.
Yeah.
Rusev is like...
I actually thought that segment was kind of hilarious.
What, No, I'm just saying, but the last 2 weeks, he was... Last Monday before that, he was put in situations where he was the underdog. Where he was the person...
Yeah, that's correct.
Fighting out of a fucked up situation. I mean, that's supposed to be the babyface. You know, like, that's Cena and Nexus. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Ricky Steamboat, you know, getting his ass handed to him. But, like, Rollins is in limbo, and I don't know why. And take this main event that happened on Raw. It was really the expression of the entire night of, like, these matches that could be put on big cards that were just thrown away. The first time this person meets that person. And, like, wait a minute, man. In 4 weeks, you got your second biggest event. Oh, yeah, it's 4 hours? Oh, great. Oh, yeah, you got Brock versus Undertaker? What are your belly's full right now? Like, so you're going to waste an entire week on, like, these first that does nothing. And you're gonna put. Let's look at this card.
The card. Yeah.
Look at this shit. We got fucking Big Show versus Dean Ambrose, and that one of the tying ends to that, because they did that on SmackDown with who was it? It was Sheamus. And he's like, oh yeah, you put Big Show out on the commentaries desk because you didn't want to face me. So they tied that into that for last SmackDown. And then Big Show's only facing Ambrose because he wants revenge for getting put in this fucking DDT through the commentator's desk. Neville versus Fandango, which who fucking cares?
Sasha Banks and Paige. Owens and Orton, Alicia Fox and Nikki versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte.
Los Matadores and Lucha Dragons first time on Raw. That was the worst match I've seen this year.
Oh, but they've fought so many times. It's hard to say that's a first match.
I don't remember only but watching them once on SmackDown, and it was like the worst match I'd ever seen in my fucking life. I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be fun. It was horrible, and this was just as horrible. Orton versus Owens, Cena versus Rollins, and I go like, Orton versus Owens?
Well, they kind of had a schmoz that like tore that apart, so that wasn't too bad. The final product wasn't too bad. You still want to see Orton versus Owens after the Sheamus run in and Cesaro run in, so I didn't see a problem with that. But yeah, the John Cena and Rollins, that should have been saved for maybe like a title versus title match. But they still have 4 weeks.
Owens and Orton, it should be a storyline to that. Like, just something.
Well, this could be the start of that, maybe.
But it just sucks. Because here's the thing. They don't have a feud. The feud is still with Sheamus and Orton.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Sloppy seconds, too. You know? Oh, yeah, you face Cena, now you face Orton.
For sure. I think they would just threw that out there to make it seem like a big deal, but then had no intention of actually giving a finish or any kind of outcome. They just wanted these 2 spots filled on the show.
It was They should have never done it.
Yeah, they should have just had maybe an Owens match or a Orton match.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I thought the Big Show Dean Ambrose match was good, though. Good psychology. Like, it really got over the Big Show was powerful. Really got over that Dean was smarter than the Big Show, like untying his boot real quick.
Dean is smarter than the Big Show.
Yeah, he untied.
In this?
Yeah, he untied his boot, which made Big Show tie it back together. And then after he was done, he attacked him.
Dean absolutely hated that.
Dean was leaning on the guardrail at one point. Show ran. He moved out the way. So even though Big Show is more powerful than him, got him counted out, Dean also looked better because he kind of got the best of him at the end.
And that's a change because you normally get Dean Ambrose being the idiot. Now, this entire match was Ambrose actually putting himself in situations that made him look like a fool. Especially like the way the tying of the shoe. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
I didn't like it until it ended up where Dean got the better of him. He did it. There was a reason he got out of the.
Of course, I know there was a reason, but it was just dumb. Like I'm like when he did it because Big Show had to basically stand there, hold him up to have him do it. This is like he knows he's untying his shoe. It was just a dumb spot to me. I just like a waste of time. The same reason why. What is it? Vince McMahon hated the curb stomp so much because he saw Brock. He's like he looked so stupid waiting for that thing. That was the whole. You heard about that, right?
No.
The explanation, like Vince hated it. He just hated looking at Brock at WrestleMania, sitting there for it, and it's the same thing with him untying his shoe. It's like what?
So but he had to tie it back.
I know he had to tie it back, but like he knew he was sitting there in the spot as Dean Ambrose was untying his shoe, just holding him up. Oh, let's do this spot where he unties your shoes. It's like that was stupid.
No, that was funny, man. That's good stuff, man.
I didn't think so. This match, and this is the thing about Dean Ambrose too. I'm becoming more and more indifferent about him because he's not giving me a reason to like him, and this. You know, that whole, like, him putting himself in precarious situations to make him look like an idiot, like a heel should, but he's just, like, you know, one of the biggest over baby faces in the company.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't allow you to invest in watching him come back. You know? Like, his matches are, like, whoever gets offense on him for a little bit, it'd be, like, 3 minutes, and then he'll, like, spring out of it. Like it'd be like a minute, someone gets off it, then he'll spring out of it. Then it'd be like just back and forth. And I'm like, well, I understand you're the lunatic fringe, but you're still positioned as this guy who should be Cena, basically, getting your ass kicked, and then you power up and take out the heel in the end. He doesn't allow for that. It's nothing to get behind him on, right?
Yeah.
And then he just keeps losing and losing. So I look at a match like this with the Big Show, I go, well, I understand you're trying to tie up the loose ends with the SmackDown DDT, but aren't you feuding with the Wyatts?
Dean? Well, I think he was just there helping Roman Reigns out. I don't think they know what they're doing with him, but I think that they see that as more of a Roman Reigns feud, and Dean's just helping. And I mean, I think, like, you could be pissed at multiple people at once, like certain people have a couple different enemies,
But I think by this time, and especially the dependency on, say, what the Shield was 2 years ago, and then the way they've been herky-jerky with Dean Ambrose, trying to find a place for him, trying to mold his character, I feel like they're taking more steps back on developing who Dean Ambrose actually is, than, say, making it better. And this match was, to me, a prime example of that. And it was just like, and what it's just been doing with them, I don't know. It's sad to me, because I shouldn't feel this way about Dean Ambrose. I shouldn't. I should feel much more confident. But when you are basically the Wyatt version 2, Shield version 2, he's helping, but he's part of that feud. Why isn't the focus? Because they gave the Wyatts, and we just may as well talk about that. They gave the Wyatts basically a renewing of their vows.
Yeah, that was weird. It was just a promo, but just in the ring this week instead of, a pre-tape behind the curtain or whatever. I didn't really see too much to, in that promo. Just kind of just reiterating the fact that Harper's back. Don't know why he left, but yeah, that whole feud is kind of just...
Let him go. They did like vignettes on "You're set free." Basically, there was no real anything to it. It was just like, oh yeah, you are this person, and boom, 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 you've been set free. Rowan, blah, 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 blah. Now you've been set free, and that was the end of the Wyatt family. I popped like hell when he came back.
With Roman?
Yeah, well, yeah, when he attacked Roman, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be all right. But it looks like the feud itself, because Reigns wasn't even on the show.
Yeah, it was like a standstill with this whole feud. I thought at least Roman was going to come out and attack him or something, but no, that didn't happen.
You put Ambrose in a match that really doesn't advance anything.
No, it's just opener match on Raw.
And then you're going to have the Wyatts come out and renew their vows and mention something about Reigns.
Like, right at the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, I don't like this guy named Reigns. Bye.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, I don't know. But here's the thing. I actually popped for the sleeper hold. I did pop for the sleeper hold.
Oh, when he got on, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the match was really good psychology. Not necessarily like anything technically good or any kind of maneuver that was good, but they did a really good job of Dean trying to stay away from Big Show. And Big Show, whenever he did catch him, it was a big, powerful move.
It was a big move.
Yeah, like a choke slam, power slam, yeah, what have you. But then... And then he got a count out. Big Show got a count out victory, which is...
Yeah, he got a last man standing win.
So I think that, when's the last time that's happened on Raw? So I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, ever.
I mean, I'm sure it's once or twice, but...
A guy getting counted out because he's knocked out?
On Raw? I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's...
Well, a guy who didn't make the count because he was outside maybe bullshitting, but not like just straight out.
I mean...
Like last man standing style.
Yeah, I just don't want to... I can't... Nothing comes to mind. I just don't want to... Never say never, I'm sure there's... someone's going to be like, oh, no, Santino Marella, 2009 or something.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I understand it, but like... That's 2009.
Yeah, it rarely happens. That's why I thought it was a good match, especially just a good opening match. And
the end should have been, in my eyes, when he sidestepped him and he went through the barricade. I mean, he's trying to be heel. Miz took a lot of his heat. Miz is on commentary of this match. When he goes through the barricade, Miz should have been on top of his ass.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have done something like that. I don't know. I think that they've miscued the Miz character for years now, but Yeah, that would have definitely helped the story go along. Maybe they're trying to do a Last Man Standing with Dean and Big Show. I don't know.
They should just keep Big Show wandering until Ryback comes back.
Yeah.
Have Miz as his antagonator, to keep him busy, and then kick his ass again, get him out of there. Then they finally come to the resolution between him and Ryback. I mean, Ryback, he'd be back in a week or two. I mean, it's just a staph infection. I mean, it's just, I don't know, just take some fucking antibiotics and, you're good.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, just Ambrose should something I noticed too. He's growing a little facial hair.
You think he's the new Brian?
No, I think he's going to join the Wyatts.
Oh.
Because he's flailing.
He might go a little lunatic.
Well, just, hey, man, you're down in your luck. And I think, maybe there's going to be some interaction between Bray and Ambrose. And him going like, you're in a shitty situation, bro. You can join the fam. But he's growing his hip.
Well, that would be good, but they already done like a multiple month program with Dean and Bray. That didn't really result in much.
Yeah. I mean, but do you remember me talking about how it's either between him and Harper, or
it looked the same, yeah,
or even between him and Bray, because they're both out of their minds. That at some point they're both beaten up and bloody and looking at each other like, "Hey, bro, you're pretty cool. Let's be pals," And I feel like this is what's going to happen, and it's like,
yeah, I can see that
as flailing.
I can see him joining the Wyatt family, and then the story is him wanting to leave and Roman helping him come back to the good side and all that. I can see that going down, but I don't know.
But he would have to turn on Reigns, because I see actually a Reigns Ambrose feud for WrestleMania.
Maybe, I mean, that wouldn't really excite me that much, but I would.
It would excite me.
That's cool.
Just to see what kind of dynamic could be had. More say, like, how does Roman become? Because this is his brother. Because even when Rollins left, we didn't see Reigns really get upset. He was just like,
Yeah, he put shit in someone's coffee.
Yeah, you're like, I'm cool, I'm good. But like, you talk about a guy he's been really, really close to, and now he turns on it because he's part of the Wyatts now.
Reigns didn't really. They kind of missed the boat on that. They never really tied up Roman going after Reigns for one, breaking up the Shield, and two, taking away his world title opportunity at Mania. So they're trying to. I think 6 months ago they saw Roman Reigns as being this big star, but they have not done anything with him since.
Well, until he can get beyond a kick, a slap, a punch, and a clothesline, just seeing your ass getting handed to you by a bigger foe.
Well, people were saying that before he won Royal Rumble, before he got put in the main event spot. It wasn't. I mean, they picked Bryan, and they made it seem like it was Bryan versus Roman, but it was like
Roman versus the WWE Universe.
Roman. I mean, he wasn't ready. There's a reason he was good. He looked good in the Shield because there was Rollins and Dean right there. He could get the hot tag, punch, kick, clothesline, everyone going nuts. But once you take away the actual technical ability of the other two guys in the Shield, he's just one hot tag, just sitting there.
I know. Well, that's the thing. That's the first thing I even noticed when he went solo. I was like, he's just a hot tag.
Yeah.
There ain't much substance out of a hot tag. Now, you look at a guy like, you look at Steve Austin in his latter days. You look at The Rock. That's what they did. But they knew how to tell a story.
Exactly.
In the ring. Like, he kick, he punch. You probably get like a hold or two every once in a while. But like for the most part, it was just punch, 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 cat, slap, slap, kick, kick, kick. Stunner. I'm out. Crack open a beer. Throw up a middle finger. But Reigns, he doesn't have that much of a past, that much of a repertoire to be able to transition into just a brawler. When he was fighting Daniel Bryan, and I thought this was something that stood out, when he was like slamming him and doing these big moves, it's like, yeah, okay, I can go with this. Big man, big moves, great. But then it just turned back to them just kick, punch, slap, clothesline again.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen much in him, but I'm glad maybe he won't be on next week. Maybe a little break might be needed for Roman.
No, they got to do something about this Wyatt thing.
Well, no, they have Bray keep talking about him, and then a few weeks from now, Roman comes back, and then looks a little fresher. Maybe, I don't know.
Just wait for it. He ain't growing that beard for nothing. Okay. I'm telling you, Ambrose. So let's talk about Cody.
Oh, yeah, Fandango versus Neville. Neville wins with the red arrow.
That was nothing. This is all about the transformation of Cody. This is all about what's happening with Cody.
Right I didn't see Cody. I only saw Stardust, man. Cody's dead.
I saw a glimpse of Cody. Wine and dine with kings and queens.
Yeah,
because that happened on SmackDown. He was like, your hand touching my hand. So it seems like in all these little packages.
I saw a little gold dust as well, like the way he would deliver and pull his words back in the deep voice and everything. Mm-hmm. He would digress in this deep voice that had a lot of gold dust cadence to it a little bit.
But him mentioning his father's via promo, not necessarily, but I just go, this is how they're going to transition Stardust back into Cody.
Oh, I don't know if they're doing that, man, because he looks like, I think they're going to try to use him as like this super villain, because I know they're trying to play Neville as the superhero, and he's got this kind of on again, off again feud with the guy who plays the Green Arrow on TV. So I think they're going to use him as just like the high flying heel.
How about this? How about this as a scenario? So, okay, he wants to face a guy who plays a character on TV. Right? It's like, look, man, what are you doing? I'm an actor. I'm not the Arrow, what's his name?
Green Arrow?
Is it?
Yeah, it's the Green Arrow.
I'm not the Green Arrow, dude. I'm like Joe Smith. You are cuckoo.
Yeah.
And then that really fucking with Cody, because in his head he does see himself as a supervillain, but like he's detached himself with reality. Now, what I can come with, the understand I can come with him mentioning parts of his dad's promos in his last two packages, is that he's slipping more into reality of what his father and what his family meant to him. The cadence with Stardust cadence, him talking about my hand reaching your hand, wine and dine with kings and queens, and him kind of catching himself. I don't know. I think this is Neville. Poor Neville. I just go like, this has nothing to do with Neville.
Well, all he's got to do is hit that red arrow, and then that's his job,
That sucks.
I think it's, some people don't need to really talk that much. Like RVD never really had to talk that much. Ray never really had to talk that much. Just certain guys' moveset, like you said with Rollins, is two-face. His moveset is so face that's all he needs to do. Is Neville just needs to be Neville. Just work. I know, but really hard.
He ended up just being.
That's what got him to the dance.
But you know what though? But on NXT, he was more than just a red arrow. He was actually like, they gave him character, they gave him personality, they gave him substance.
They tried. They gave him mic time, but I definitely didn't see a lot of character come out of it. I think it's
and him in the Sami Zayn feud.
I think it's very good that they keep him off the mic. I think he's exceptionally good in the ring, but not that good on the mic.
But not necessarily have to talk on the mic, but just give him something. Because you know what he reminds me of right now. You know who he is right now? He's Kofi Kingston. He's the Kofi Kingston guy. No, nothing. He's just okay. He's just a smiley, jump around guy. And now Kofi is like, he's in the New Day right now, and he's doing really well for himself.
The real Megadad of the year.
Yes. That was great. That crowd popped so hard.
But Neville.
I just feel like he's replacing where Kofi Kingston left off.
I can totally see that, and I definitely wouldn't want that for, like, if I were a wrestler to be in that position, but that position needs to be filled in the company. Uh-huh. And why not Pac?
He's Evan Bourne,
Yeah. I can definitely see getting frustrated with that position, but that's the role he needs.
I'm more frustrated. I would imagine he is. He's good.
He's good for a while, but I think Kofi has made mention of it. John Morrison has made mention of not being to be in that position. RVD back in the day was one of the most over guys. Jeff Hardy had a hard time doing it, but I think if he'll always have a job in that role, because I don't think there's very many people in the world that can do the things he can do and he's also can do the things he can do with the body Vince likes, because he's still like a stocky guy.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But again, he's a Triple H dude. He's not at all a Vince guy.
Well, yeah, he might not be a Vince guy, but Vince can look at him and be like, okay, that's acceptable. Where a lot of the guys who can do that kind of moveset, like a Jack Evans or anybody, are real tiny.
A Rey Mysterio. And we know how that went.
And he had to even bulk up to be in WWE. So.
Yeah, but like Vince hated him with that fucking belt.
Yeah, the belt, the mask. I mean,
there's just a belt. He didn't want to give him the belt. He's like, look at this guy. This guy doesn't look like a world champion. If someone tuned in and saw this guy was a world champion, like, what the fuck?
So I think maybe I don't know. Maybe the best thing for Neville to do to keep winning is stay the hell away from that world title. Now, don't get pushed up. Just like. Stay down the mid card and sell your shirts.
But you don't want to be. The X division or guy. Like, that was one of the biggest problems with WCW. You talk about the guys,
the cruiserweights.
They would go out and do these awesome things, but there was no progression in terms of who they were as champions.
But if there's the one cruiserweight, the two cruiserweights, I think that you just can't overdo it. If there's the one guy that does the crazy flips, which I mean, yeah, it's coming out more so that everyone does a high spot, but he's the only one who does
the high spot.
Yeah, the red arrow. It's like kind of like a high jump dive over the top. That thing.
Well, you look at the Falcon arrow.
The red arrow.
No, I'm talking about like
the Hayabusa. Falcon's
I'm
arrow.
talking about Rollins.
Well, yeah, that's a Hayabusa move. The Falcon's arrow is named after that because
that's a fucking awesome move. When he did that shit in the match, I was like, whoa.
He did it at Royal Rumble too on the
did.
three-way against John Cena. But yeah, Cody might do it. I don't know, but
if I was the fantasy book right now and really try to get some sort of substance out of Neville, I say, hey man, go ahead and put him up against the Big Show. Come on, stop playing. Put him up against the Big Show.
That's like a Mania match, though.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But let's start. I'm impatient with this thing. I am clamoring for this, like hardcore. Give me Neville versus Big Show. It'd be the best thing for both of their careers. Like, you know what I'm saying? It would be so awesome.
Yeah. I've been saying that since the beginning. I think it would look great. Yeah, Big Show wouldn't even have to do very much for that.
Not at all.
But I really like this next match, Sasha Banks versus Paige. I think Sasha Banks is probably the best women's wrestler in the company. As far as like her, like she's got everything down pat as far as like mic work and everything, and then in the ring, I would say there's arguably there's ladies that are probably on her level, but as far as the whole package and everything, best ladies wrestler in the company.
I mean, I understand that, but I want something else.
You want something else?
I want something else. I want something else out of this. Out of this entire like Diva Revolution
It needs to pick up a little. Well, I mean, she beat Paige. This is fucking.
Well, she made her tap out. She made her tap out on SmackDown.
She made her tap out on Raw too.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we get it. My whole thing about this whole Diva Revolution, and I'm glad again the girls are up there, and I feel like Neville became the Diva segment.
Yeah.
It's. Oh look, we can wrestle too, and there's only been so much. There's only but so much of this Diva Revolution of like, oh look at us, we can wrestle too. Give us more time, let us wrestle. It's like, okay, we get it. You can wrestle. Now what? How do you tell stories? Is it about you having this amazing gift to wrestle, or is there going to be at some point a storyline where I'm gonna be invested in who you are as a character rather than your ability, And I just feel like that's the hard line that they're driving right now with this whole Diva Revolution. We get it. You can wrestle. Now what? What do you do with these girls now with all this talent?
Well, I think they kind of rushed it a little bit. Like Sasha Banks should have been beating like the Emma and Laylas of the world instead of going right after Paige. They should have, and then same with Charlotte and Becky Lynch. They shouldn't have paired. I mean, maybe Alicia Fox, but stay away from Nikki, stay away from Paige, stay away from Naomi for at least the first month, and have them wrestle these ladies that you've just been throwing out there.
But you got 3 girls to share that time with.
I mean, I think you can do. Well, have them wrestle each other and get over that they're really good wrestlers, which you have done, and then wipe out Layla. Have Layla lose to all three of them. Have Emma lose to all three of them. I wonder if there's any other.
They're lacking. They're lacking.
Yeah, maybe Summer Rae. Or
not Summer Rae. She's already booked right now.
Well, I mean, I was just.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, just some girls, just any girls, and have them lose to them, and then eventually get to where Sasha Banks beats Paige, because then that would be. We would be invested in Sasha almost as much as we would be invested in Paige. But now that she just beat Paige off the bat, it's kind of like, where do you go from there? I guess twice, SmackDown and Raw. So I think they're rushing it a little bit, but these matches are great, so I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining about the matches. I'm complaining about the format that it's going. Vince could give a fuck about women's wrestling. You know this, right?
Yeah,
he could give a shit, and I think he's been put in a corner and hands cuffed. And I think because Stephanie is she's the person in front of this. She's as you would say the she's the face of this entire thing. Yeah, which is even crazier.
That's one thing that I think almost ruined it for me, because the reason that Nikki was supposedly on top for so long was what Paige's gripe was that they had an in with the Authority, and that's what made sense throughout the storyline. And then all of a sudden, now the revolution is happening because of Stephanie. I get there's backstage politics, and you might have to have Stephanie get some shine just to even get the storyline going. But that really took all continuity out of the story, was having Stephanie be at the forefront of all this. Like, shouldn't she be? Isn't she the heel? Didn't she help the Bellas, which is the reason why Paige was calling for this revolution in the first place?
But this is the logic of the WWE, and it's divas, not women.
I think they're
catty.
Yeah, I think they were almost about to pull the plug on it, but then they said, "Hey, Stephanie, we'll make you in charge of it. We'll make you look good in front of all this." And then that's how they got everything to even come out there in the first place.
It's almost as if it's an episode of Total Divas, and in terms of the cattiness of how this Divas revolution starts, because again, it's just like, oh yeah, one day we good. It was all good just a week ago, and now it's just like, okay, I'm just going to be a bitch to you because I'm a bitch. There's no real storyline to how Nikki pissed off Stephanie McMahon for her to actually align with Paige. I've been screaming, and this is what we're talking about too before. Like Hurricane Nikki in her quest to beat AJ's record.
Yeah.
Just keep any and everyone out of their way. The only thing is, it hasn't been a question about the belt since these girls have showed up.
No.
Which is a problem. Which is definitely a problem. And then B, you bring all of these girls up at the same time, and there's only but so much time allowed. Granted, they're giving them a head of steam. Lynch got her wins, has her pins and her wins. Charlotte's got her pins and her wins. And Banks has gotten her pins and her wins. They're giving them a head of steam. But where are they going? And that's all I'm saying, man. Like, this whole, like, hey, we can wrestle too, revolution.
I mean, Charlotte's way better as a heel than I think a face. So you can have a turn there. You can have a turn with Sasha getting too big for her britches, and then having a Naomi versus Sasha.
Well, that should have just been from the jump altogether.
Well, I think give it a little time. I think
No, I'm not going to give it time.
I think the revolution is not like 3 or 4 weeks long. I think it's going to be like a year. It's a change in philosophy. Like, now the women can have better matches. Like, Paige dove off the top rope to the floor, which I don't think before these ladies have come, that's never happened in the WWE. You'd be lucky to have them bounce off the ropes. Like, it's just like... And then the submission-based work that they're doing, the technically sound, like...
You have no other choice but to do a slow burn when you take 3 new superstars and put them in a confined space. You have no other choice.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Now, at this point of where they are, they have no other choice. But they could have just brought up Charlotte. They could have just brought up Becky Lynch. They could have just brought up Sasha Banks, and then have it trickle over time that each NXT diva comes up and becomes a new installment within the Divas division.
Sure.
The Divas Revolution is basically it's just too much. And I feel like, okay, they're giving a head of steam, I get it. But they're going to shoot themselves in the foot doing this. And I'm sitting back waiting for them to just fuck it up. And if they keep going at this rate, I feel like they're going to fuck it up.
They also have
because they're not going to make any time to build any real storylines. After a while, especially with such confined space, they're gonna ruin this, man. They're gonna ruin this. I'm just waiting for it, and I'm not gonna say I told you so.
I hear you, man. I hear you. And then after that, we had the hilarious Rusev segment.
Rusev's the man.
Yeah, he gave Summer Rae a dog and said that the dog's name is like Ziggler because it's like
dog. Called him Dog Ziggler.
Yeah, Dog Ziggler.
Because he said he has a funny face, has skinny legs, and he's neutered.
All in the awesome, Bulgarian accent, and then he gives Summer a fish, and says, this is like Layla, just like a dead fish, like Layla, pretty much. Lana, sorry, yeah. And then Lana comes out and, gets pissed and ends up rubbing Summer Rae's face in this dead fish, which, I mean, I can see why you wouldn't like it, but I mean, you just eventually Rusev carried it, and then someone having their face rubbed in some nasty fish is kind of funny. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this segment is hilarious. It's a great way to
showcase Rusev and his character and his personality.
Yeah, and while you're kind of waiting to see what Ziggler has to do, so yeah, funny as fuck.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. This is still like a development, I think.
My girlfriend does not watch wrestling, but she loves this feud. She won't say she does, but every time it's on, she's like, "Oh, what's going on here?" She's paying attention. So,
well, I like Rusev as this sort of really macho, misogynist guy.
Who doesn't realize he's like that?
No, not at all. Yeah, he's completely clueless. He's like, someone as beautiful as Summer Rae. She understands that she has to be obedient. And I love it because it's like, I don't know, in its own fucked up way, it's still very funny.
Yeah, for sure.
And we've all seen this situation before as the asshole getting the babe, and he's just like, a misogynist asshole fucker, but he's still, for some reason, it's this animal attraction that most women have to these kind of dudes. You know? Sure. It's hilarious. The look on Summer Rae's face whenever he makes a point to call her obedient and how she knows her place, it's money. It's gold. It's wrestling gold. And then the way he delivers how he says things, it's just, you can't. No one else has that in the on the roster right now. I think he has his own way of addressing certain things. Like, for example, when he was talking, I forgot where they were, and he made a comment like, he was yelling at the crowd like, "This crowd understands how a woman is, and to make you crazy." It was just like, what? The crowd just went like, what? And just started laughing.
Yeah, like, oh, not me, baby.
But it wasn't the way he said it. Wasn't to the fact to where it was like detrimental to his character. It was part of his character, and it worked. And I just don't know anyone else who can actually deliver his character as well as say outside the New Day and Xavier Wood, but Rusev is the best character on the roster right now to me, the best.
Yeah, I can totally see that. He's great.
But this is.
And then we had the Lucha Dragons versus Los Matadores. And we've already talked about that match, but I have to say,
boring.
The primetime players really, I can't remember anything that happened in the match because there's a lot of times where the guest commentary can help, but I really thought like it took away from it. I guess it was all about them and not about the actual match going on the ring, so that's kind of a weird dynamic. But I just found it kind of annoying. I found Darren Young really annoying. I mean, he said like the wow the crowd thing, which was funny at first, but then he just kept going to it, and
it seems like it's funny too because he played the girlfriend in this. He did. He really did.
Yeah, for sure.
He played the girlfriend who just would speak on command and say that funny thing you say, girl. And then I think it was such good reviews from last week's burial of like JBL and Cole by O'Neal that they did an encore.
Yeah, probably. And then the New Day comes out skipping, giggling
with the sign of the year.
Yeah. The real Mega Dad of the year, Kofi Kingston.
Did you see that vibe? The gif of like when it's like when homie from the crew finds out he's having a child, and he comes outside. It's great stuff, man.
Dude, that entrance is never getting old to me, man. They coming out clapping, looking ridiculous, and then the music fits perfectly, just like
the crowd popped. I mean, it's amazing how much heat these guys have.
Yeah, for sure.
And please, and I don't think it'll ever go away. If they maintain this, the only thing that would kill this heat is, say, if Big E turned on one of those guys, and that's what just killed the New Day or something.
Well, that's
the only way you can kill that heat. So I want them to have that belt, please. And just what I didn't understand about this match, you had Lucha Dragons win when they convincingly. When they convincingly lost twice to the New Day, but Los Matadores beat the Primetime Players last.
But because of the New Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Los Matadores is going to win this match.
Well, I think the Los Matadores only won because of New Day distraction. So I think you're supposed to forget who won the match and just remember that the Primetime Players lost. I don't think they know what they're doing anymore. I think they know they just want the New Day to wrestle Primetime Players, and they know that they can't just put that match out there over and over again. So that's why we get these matches like Lucha Dragons versus Los Matadores, and it's virtually not even talked about the entire time. That they're out there. They keep cutting to Titus O'Neil when, I don't know, Lucha Style's pretty awesome. I'd like to see the match, but I could not concentrate on the match with a 5-man commentary team. So I think they need to kind of cut back on that. But New Day saved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, they're great. I don't want New Day to wrestle Primetime Players. I want the New Day to get their fucking belts back.
And I think the New Day can have a lot better feuds with teams like the Lucha Dragons, an obvious face team where they don't have to talk, where the New Day can have all the mic work in the feud, and you kind of just like the Lucha Dragons because of their offense. And I think like a Kalisto and a Big E do real well together just because of the size difference, just like we were talking with Neville and Big Show kind of
he
aspect.
He always tosses the shit out of it.
Yeah. So I think this Primetime Players having the belt is like a weird, just like rip in the storyline. Whereas Cesaro and Kid then went to the New Day. It was all makes sense. It was kind of like a tag team revolution for a little bit, and then the Primetime Players just boom is like put it at a halt, like a weird standstill, like a team they already gave up on, now back together because of it seems like political circumstances. Like one's the first gay guy, one's the dad of the year. So it's kind of just like this is the team they can take to all the charity events, but. They don't, and
they're black too.
Well, what about the New Day, man? We already got.
I know, but it's the New Day. The thing is, being that they're heels, they're not really put in a situation. Again, the way I see the New Day, they're the annoying black guys in the movie theater that won't shut up. That's how they're being portrayed, and it's it's comedy. Obviously, it ain't our truth.
Yeah,
and notice that he didn't make it on TV this week
for sure.
But it's not something that they can really run with in terms of national publicity of the WWE
of their
product,
diversity
of the product. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We already talked about the Bray and Harper thing.
The Brofest.
Yeah, Charlotte and Becky versus Fox and Nikki.
All this is about just Becky Lynch getting the win.
Becky Lynch got the win, and did you hear Alicia Fox got a concussion? Which is something I wanted to talk about. I think they said they don't know if she'll be out at all, but they think that maybe she'll just be at ring for a week or two, just resting. But I think that another problem they're going to have is these girls are some of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and you spend such a long time putting these ladies who, they're good workers. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but there's definitely they have to either remember how to wrestle that well or learn how to wrestle that well. there's going to be a learning curve with a lot of these girls, and I think that you're going to get a lot more dings and bruises.
And that's what I'm saying. And this is, for some reason, I was thinking about this today, and I'll make it concise. I'm not going to. Vince put anyone. I don't know how the cycle was before when these divas actually showed up to the roster. Were these diva search chicks? Were the chicks already on the wrestling circuit?
Most of the time, no.
Okay. So they're basically put in a position just to look pretty.
Yeah, models, and then this is a wrestling company. Shit.
Yeah, this is gonna be a big problem for the divas if they're gonna go this whole like we're wrestlers route.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you just said.
Yeah.
The average diva, let's just say anybody who was to come up, say from the Indies, their whole thing is like, ooh, I can just go up and I can finally take a rest. I can just go out and do a little bit, make a whole bunch of money, and not work as hard. This is flipping the whole
game, yeah,
on its head to where it's like, I don't think most divas most women that want to go to the WWE want to work that hard. It's going to be a real problem, like you said.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
And when you got Alicia Fox catching concussions, and then you probably have more divas in more like situations where they're hurt.
Yeah, I can see a lot of hands breaking. I can see a lot of not necessarily arms or backs, but just definitely maybe a wrist, a hand, a thing, just little nicks and bruises because they work a lot snugger, a lot stiffer than
the guys do.
No, I was just then the older, like the Nikki Bellas of the world, the Kelly Kellys of the world. Mm-hmm. They are not only comfortable with these movements that these ladies have had a hard time getting comfortable with. They've done it for years, and they're going to do it faster and quicker than these girls are used to. So it's just going to.
Well, more so Becky Lynch.
I would say Charlotte was born into it.
But she's not a wrestler. But she wasn't a wrestler. I mean, she went to the plant and became a wrestler. It wasn't like something that she was doing on her own or on the independent scene. She's a dancer. She does like what do you call it? Shit, the
fitness model.
Yeah, she's a fitness model.
Yeah,
that turned wrestler.
But so I think she just knows a little bit more of the mentality just from growing up. Yeah. And I mean, Paige is from this like super famous wrestling training family in UK.
Her mom is like the biggest wrestling star.
I think her mom still wrestles in Shimmer. Yeah. So. And her dad is a big trainer over there and everything. He wrestled in Smoky Mountain, I think. I know that they're related. I don't look it up. I know they're related. I don't want to say mom, dad, maybe like cousins, aunt, something like that. She's from a big UK wrestling family, training.
And then Becky Lynch as well. So it's like, again, they're going to have to keep up that process, but it's going to. And I don't know, and I think that's where the slippery slope of like the feminist movement and equality and the whole Ronda Rousey conversation and trying to relate it to say what's
women
going
can do it too.
Yeah,
but the whole thing is
people gonna have to start having a problem with this shit.
Well, Sarah Del Rey is famous from Ring of Honor and Shimmer and everything. Was a big reason why these women are so good in NXT, and they moved her up, so she is training. Technically the trainer for Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, Alicia Fox, and all these ladies. So hopefully she can work her magic with them just like she did, like you said, with Charlotte and girls like that and help them out as much as they have to.
Ava Marie.
Yeah, because...
that match, on
NXT?
I was uneasy during that whole thing.
She only knows how to fake one thing, it looks like. She looked like she was in porn the whole time.
She looked like... She had this smile on her face, as if like, we're pretending. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm a wrestler now. Like, it was the most easy thing.
She wanted to like look cute doing something when we want her to actually just do it.
No, I don't think it was just a matter of her trying to look cute. I just think that she's just out of place. She's completely out of her element.
There's nothing wrong with her being a valet. I don't know why they're like steering clear of that idea. Just be a valet. I don't know, man. But then, we then jump to like the Owens and Orton match, which just spiraled out of control. It didn't really ever get going. until Sheamus who was on commentary, hit Owens or Orton with the Bro Kick. Cesaro comes in, attacks Owens, attacks Sheamus, and then pop-up powerbomb to Cesaro. So I guess the two feuds are kind of staying stagnant. I'm excited to see these matches.
And Cesaro got laid out with an RKO.
Oh, wow. So
sorry, I apologize.
With a pop-up powerbomb.
Yeah, he got by KO. That's how my notes go. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, it's cool. And so like we were saying, this kind of is indicative of the whole Raw, where storylines just stayed stagnant. A lot of good wrestling, but storylines just stayed stagnant. I mean, I don't really have much to say over this. This is just
the only thing I liked about this was how the match began, of them just jaw-jacking each other.
Oh yeah,
that looked good.
I thought they were going to get into it. I thought that this was going to be the pay-per-view quality match, and the main event was going to have some kind of schmoz, but it was just reversed.
Mm-hmm. And I guess without further ado, the match itself, it blew me away. Like I said earlier, like this is such a Cena-friendly crowd, and the one I couldn't. It was hard to focus what was happening in the ring because of the Cena homers in the front row.
Oh, yeah.
Did you notice that
There's a lot more never give up towels and a lot more blue hats than normal.
On the Solomonster Sounds Off, like, message board, you just saw, like, all these dudes just, like, ragging on these grown-ass men who are Cena fans.
Oh, come on,
It's
guys.
like, I know, I hate that, too. But it was so distracting because it caught me off guard. I hardly ever see that. I hardly ever see, like, as if... You remember Nikki Bella's when she did her shoot, she was on commentary. She was talking about Paige and AJ Lee, and she was making this point about like all these girls talking about they're different and how they're gonna, they're like unique and different, but they're all the same.
Yeah, mainstream is now the different.
Yeah, I'm none of that. I'm the different one now, right?
Yeah. Which is a great point.
I feel like that's what the new smart mark is going to be. The guy that actually roots for Cena.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I totally see that. Like
because if everyone's rooting for Kevin Owens...
Yeah, eventually it's going to come back around.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw when Kevin Owens tapped out, you just saw all these people with Kevin Owens shirts like, no, that's not the good writing.
Well, you saw because up front...
That couple.
Well, because they were sitting beside the Brock Lesnar guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And his crew. Who the fuck is this guy?
Brock Lesnar, how does he have the money? He's always front row center. You never see him like in the crowd, third row. You never see him up in the stands.
He'll be in fucking DC. He'll be in Chicago. He'll be in LA. He'll be in Texas. I'm like, what the fuck? Front row.
And those Affliction shirts are like $30, $40 a pop too.
But he wears the same shirt every time. Though.
Yeah.
He wears the same shirt of him getting caught doing the Brock Lesnar thing. So he hasn't changed out. He's like a cartoon.
You want to talk about grown men? I don't know. I mean, whatever.
But this KO couple is beside him, and then there's a Cena fan in the back, and they caught like it was funny. I ended up seeing like a GIF of that of like Cena versus Owens in a nutshell, and you saw like this kid with his mom, and they're celebrating Cena won, and it sort of pans out, and you see like the KO couple shaking their heads,
all pissed.
Yeah, that shit was beautiful. But I don't know why they're still going with Sheamus Orton is beyond me. The Cesaro Owens feud, I'm looking for them to make more substance. The only problem is they're going to have to basically cut ties with the idea that Kevin Owens beat Cesaro pretty clean on SmackDown like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Do people remember that? Did it even happen?
I forgot about it. So
it happened on SmackDown.
I think
it did happen.
I think they could just use that to play into it. All they got to do is have Cesaro beat Owens clean, and then it's neck and neck,
Because when he was on NXT, when they did that contract signing, it was mentioned that he had beat Cesaro.
Yeah.
And then backstage, when they went back and forth this is on SmackDown, it's like, I'm going to go get some food. I hope you don't choke like you did against John Cena. Did you see that? Look it up. It's a back and forth between Kevin Owens and... After he walks out of his match, he just walks into Cesaro's promo in the back, and then they just go back and forth. It's fucking... Nice. It's gold because they're just like really ragging on each other, but what wasn't brought up is like Kevin Owens and go, but I already beat you, motherfucker. Like it didn't come up. So I don't know.
But then, yeah, the main event, Cena versus Rollins, like we talked about, really
broken nose.
Cena, hitting the. I mean, wrestlers have wrestled through a lot worse, but it's kind of. I mean, just like this U.S. title challenge and all this, his new moveset, his new offense. It's really good just to see the top guy in the company try. Like he broke his nose. He still worked the match.
You think that broken nose was a shoot? You think it was a shoot?
Yeah, they would not allow blood in their.
No, I'm talking about did Rollins break his nose?
Oh no, I don't.
You think it was an accident?
Yeah, people have been. Yeah, you would. I mean, Rollins is the world champion, but I think if he did that, they would kind of move him down a little quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was. I think Rollins, just kind of like indie guy. Just Cena not used to get in working that.
He grabbed the back of his head.
Proper. Man. Nah, I don't think he did, man. I think
he grabbed the back of his head when he need him.
Well, I'm saying that you don't know how much force it is wrestling. I think he did not mean to do that.
Well, maybe Cena was slow to move his head to the right a little bit.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, Tornado DDT looked awesome. Super over crowd.
This match.
He misses the Falcon's arrow like we already talked about. Gets caught in the STF.
But he also does a suicide dive too. So I'm just like, I'm not a fan of that Rollins unless you're babyface. Like I wish he was a little more dirtier. He's not. He's doing everything to win without cheating, and then look awesome.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the champ does have to look impressive. I think. When you get to that level, whether you're heel or your face, you have to put on a level of a match that involves moves that not everyone can do. Like a Flair. Like, he got booed, but then when people watched him wrestle, he did, I mean, for the time, exciting stuff, even when he was selling.
Like what?
Well, I mean, when he got thrown to the turnbuckle, he would, flip and land onto
That's not a Falcon's arrow, bro.
I know, I'm just saying, people are like, whoa, people get thrown away, like the figure four. People got into the skill level of Flair. He was a good enough worker that he got cheered during the match because of how good he was.
But it wasn't an aerial assault.
I mean, but I think everyone does aerial assaults. Like Big Show jumps off the second rope. Ryback does a frog splash. I think that's just the evolution of it. It's like everyone.
Well, he's a babyface, and the idea of Big Show jumping off to do that elbow is to emphasize him crushing someone.
But that's still going to get a face reaction. People are still going to be like, "Whoa, that was nuts!" So I think that's just the evolution of what's going on. Like,
I think it's lame.
Everyone has to have a moveset like that. I mean, like, the champ has to look strong. I mean, that no matter what, heel, face.
No, he can look strong without looking that flashy.
Not with his size. I think he's a smaller guy. He's going to have to do those moves to look believable. He can't pick. I don't think he can pick Cena up 10, 20 times in a match.
He's bigger than Orton.
He's not. He's taller, but he's not bigger than Orton.
I know Orton looking at Owens made him like a dwarf.
Yeah, he towered over Owens.
It was amazing.
I mean, we've never really seen very many people do that kind of moveset in WWE at all. So I don't know. I think they see him as this tweener guy. I think if you, they've tried their best to take away like the curb stomp because of what you said, Vince said. So I think they're very conscious of what you're talking about. I think the Falcon's arrow is just he's done it twice. He's missed twice. So
he needs to chill with that shit. I'm just saying. I'm not expecting him to pull some shit like that out of the woodwork. It just takes me out of who he is as this scumbag. This weasel. It just takes that away. You want to stay a weasel, then do weaselly shit.
Well, jumping at you and running away, jumping at you, that kind of could be like taken as like weaselly thing. Like a suicide dive is the guys on the outside of the ring and you're just running at them.
That's Daniel Bryan, man. That's Daniel Bryan.
Well, yeah, it's all in the character, man. It's all how you build it, man. It could be a heroic thing. It could be, a cowardly thing.
It doesn't work for me. I just think that and then him losing doing that. I don't know. Maybe it could be a showboat thing. He could have played it up a little bit more. He could have been like, yeah, look at me, you motherfucker. But he gets on and he's focused and he's about to hit it. It's like, no, if you want to showboat. Let it all out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Get on the ropes and fucking do the you can't see me thing, And then when you miss, I'm like, yeah, you asshole. That what you get for fucking hot dogging. But that wasn't even the case. It was like super competitive. So I just go, that's, and then, you know, he taps out. You know, Cena's broken nose. That's when it all picks up. To me, like, this match didn't start until the broken nose. Honestly.
I can see that.
And it was drama. It was drama in the air. You know? And it was like, holy shit, this is not good. You can see the reaction of the crowd. People were like, holy fuck, you know? That's when the wrestling started. And, I don't know. I'm not bitching about the match. I wish it wouldn't have happened. I think just a segment between the two of them scuffling would have been okay.
Raw main events were like historically bad for years, and the past few weeks they've been great. So, and I think it's because of the John Cena U.S. title thing. It's way better than these tag matches they've been throwing out there involved with Kane and the Big Show for the last like year and a half. I'm in love with this new style of main event that they've been doing the last few weeks, and I can see how like it does like put things out there a little bit faster than expected. Mm-hmm. But I'm tired of Kane tag team matches, man. I need to see something else. I think that's why they're putting an emphasis on the matches for the first time in a while. Like Triple H coming out there and then running through the matches. This John Cena U.S. title thing, the Divas coming up.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely a guy who enjoys watching matches. That's why I watch New Japan. That's why I watch ROH. Sure. I really enjoy and Lucha Underground. I love the athleticism, and I love it. But you are definitely a self-admitted person who loves action more than you like storyline.
Well, no, not
because I don't want the WWE become ROH.
Not more than I like storyline. I think the story should be told in the ring. I think the storyline should be because of the matches happening, and you should watch the matches play out, and then that should let you know how the characters are. You shouldn't have to go backstage after every match. You should. I want to see.
Well,
WWE become
they're not cutting promos on each other anymore, though. There's no selling of the match. There's no like you know. It's no like Mean Gene or fucking someone backstage.
Well, Cena and Rollins both cut promos on the show.
But I'm talking about to sell the actual match. Like, hey, when I get in that ring, I'm gonna fuck you up. You know, like I'm talking about like, you know.
Well, that's because of writers. I really do think.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying, the storylines themselves will manifest. The storyline in the ring is the blow off of what's been happening outside the ring. So I have no investment in what's going on in the ring. I mean, again, the athleticism, but what's the story being told in the ring isn't. It's to me, it's not the chicken. You know, the egg laying the chicken here. You know, it should be the chicken laying the egg. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well,
if you do it properly, you could have a match happen that then plants a seed and then has another match, then has another, and then all of a sudden through the matches, you don't have to have all this promo time.
I feel like it's
Triple H huffing and puffing in an office every week.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about segments. I'm talking about an actual storyline between the two people in the ring. And I feel like if there's more of an outside storyline, not an overwhelming thing that takes away from action in the ring. I'm just saying, if I don't know why you're in the ring facing each other, ain't much in the ring's going to tell me anything more. That's what I'm saying. It's not.
Well, I mean, that's why you have belts. That's why you have tournaments. That's why you have number one contender shots. That's what that's for. The belts are for that. It's like they're facing each other to try to get the belt, which was the U.S. title at this time.
My point with that is like I didn't want them to touch at all. I want them to scuffle. To save a match like this for something bigger, because I would love to see a Rollins Cena championship match. Hell yeah, I would love to see it.
I think it's going to get there. I think that's what SummerSlam. I think it's going to happen at SummerSlam.
Dude, that was awesome though. Like that match was great.
I think it might be like I
mean, again, the way it ended was great.
They might do like a no DQ match or something at SummerSlam. Something to spice it up a little bit.
Oh, okay. I thought you said DQ. Like it better not be no bum finish.
No DQ match.
It better be the only thing, and we'll wrap it up after this. The one thing that bothered me about this show too, because again, this was like it was a show of firsts that didn't really tie anything together or move anything forward. The one thing that they definitely focused on was the idea that SummerSlam is going to be 4 hours, and that we all know that their meat and potatoes is going to be Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker, right? Okay, we all know, I get it. Brock was hauled off. Taker was hauled off. There was nothing to talk about this match at all. There was no follow-up. Like, absolutely, there was no Paul Heyman. There was no vignette or package. No nothing. No, like, Brock Lesnar, no nothing. And I go, that was my biggest problem, even more so with the fact that, like you say, this night was unforgettable. One of the biggest things that happened this year was that fucking brawl between Taker, and no follow-up at all. Nothing.
No. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even... Yeah, I guess that was a big reason why it was a dud. They showed it once at the beginning of Raw, but I thought they should have maybe just, like, Heyman will talk about it on SmackDown, Heyman will talk about it next week. You got 4 weeks to build, and I think the least... Undertaker should not show back up on Raw until SummerSlam.
Well, he's around now. You may as well take advantage.
No.
He's not on the same contract as Brock Lesnar.
It'll lose its luster. Undertaker,
just a follow-up.
Undertaker is you want the follow-up. You want it, so they're going to give it to you at SummerSlam. They made you want it. You're going to have to wait. And it's going to be SummerSlam.
No, I'm not talking about having to wait. Okay, all of a sudden, having to wait is this thing now where I'm like, Owens versus Randy, I don't want to see because I'd much rather wait for it. I don't want to see Rollins versus Cena because I have to wait. Now all of a sudden I got to wait for Taker? All of a sudden I got to be like this patient guy.
No, Taker is very old, and people would realize that, and you'd expose it a lot if you had him come out every week.
You give the guy at least a Titron, a package. Just saying, hey, you saw what happened last week. I beat his ass. That's what's going to happen at SummerSlam. Boom. Get out of there. That's all I'm asking for. Brock Lesnar, come back next week. He says he whooped my ass. I said I'd kill him. And he told me I had to. I will. Boom. Fuck out of there. You got 2 more weeks. I don't got to see those 2. At least I got a follow-up after one of the biggest moments in WWE history to a certain degree. You got Brock Lesnar and fucking Undertaker brawling all over the place. Had to take the entire roster. You got the fucking jabroni security guys. You got the jabroni mid-carders. And then you got the police. He's been putting, I kill you. He's been put in fucking handcuffs, toted off in a paddy wagon. I'm thinking there has to be something this week to let me know that, like, hey, man, this awesome thing happened. How do you feel about it? Nothing. Not even Paul Heyman. So that's all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, I get that. I think there should have been a Heyman. There should have been a recap. Triple H should have maybe discussed about it to some degree. But I definitely think that you need to keep Taker off TV. I think the more he's on TV, the more he'll just be exposed.
But you're talking about Mystique. If he would have been off TV, he should have never showed up. He should have never showed up in the first place. He's put himself out there.
I think he should. Yeah, I mean, someone like that's going to get hurt. He already got hurt 2 years ago. I mean,
it's not a matter of him being hurt. I'm not talking about him going out to follow up to, like, just say something. Just, hey, you saw what happened last week. That's all I'm saying. Like, you're making it as if I'm asking for something more. I'm not asking for anything more than say, hey, just how did you feel about what happened last week? That's it. Not like get out and, like, put themselves in harm's way before the match, or
I'm saying even
antagonizing
on the camera, like his face, like everything. Just, I mean, I was excited about seeing Undertaker and everything, but like, there's just a little bit of his mystique goes away every year and every time he's on camera to me, because he is getting a lot older, and he's just. He doesn't have the hair anymore. He's kind of getting a few steps slower.
Again, that's the what is it called? What is it? I always fuck that up. The disposition of belief. What? How do you fucking say?
Yeah.
Oh, suspension
of disbelief. But I think that's getting it's narrowing.
I'm not. I'm not, and I'm doing him a favor by being that way. I'm like, you know what? That's the Taker. Yeah, he looks old, but still the Taker. The Taker is bigger than the flesh. He's more than the flesh. It's the Taker.
I mean, how many years can you do that though?
He's dead already. He's a zombie.
Sure, okay.
That's the point. I mean, he's a zombie until again Baron Corbin shows up and becomes Baron Corbin.
Maybe.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap this fucker up. I'm gonna try to catch up on
some ROH.
ROH.
Yeah, I'm halfway through the Death Before Dishonor show myself,
and then the climax. Oh man,
I'm overwhelmed with that. I think if I just happen to stumble across a match or two, I'll watch it. But
yeah, I don't plan on watching it.
It's hard. There's so many matches, and they're all going to be so good. I feel like it's all just going to run together.
Yeah, man. But apparently, the story coming out is Michael Elgin.
Yeah, apparently he's doing real well. Naito is turning heel, beat up Red Shoes. I saw that.
He didn't touch Red Shoes.
He did too. He jumped Red Shoes. I saw a little Vine. Fucked with Red Shoes, man.
You can't fuck with Red Shoes.
I mean, dude, you can buy your plane ticket, fly down. I think he's wrestling in Mexico. We can go down there and jump.
I'm just gonna send him a very mean tweet. That's just what I would do.
I hear you.
So yeah, I just go. Yeah, it's like you said, it's overwhelming. It's just a different format. I think I'm gonna just skip this one and find out who wins. And Naito again, he's been. I mean, from Dominion, he had already made up his mind.
Yeah,
that was the route he's going to take.
He's going heel.
And then I guess after I finish all this shit, I'm gonna eat dinner and watch Death Before Dishonor. You don't know don't spoil anything for me.
Oh, I'm halfway through the show too, man.
Oh, okay.
I've been staying away from Twitter, so.
Okay.
Well, I do know one thing that probably gives away something, but I'm not even gonna tell you what that is.
I'm up to the Briscoes. I'm only an hour in. I saw the ending of the Briscoes.
Oh,
and then
okay, cool. That was before the Moose and Cedric match?
That was before the Moose and Cedric match.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, after the Moose and Cedric match.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Moose is... I was so whatever about Moose. Moose is... He's grown on me. That guy is a fast learner. I mean, it looked fast learner. So, oh well. Well, folks, thank you for listening to Peter and Jake.
At JG Pro Wrestling on Twitter, SoundCloud.com/JG Pro Wrestling for Faster Than the World podcast, where we review NXT every week.
Yes, he has to run and do his NXT.
And I'll be on Outside Interference with Mark Charles delivering the news. I'm doing that every week too, guys. So listen to that. Mark Charles, Legal Man. Check that out.
Legal Man. I love that title.
Yeah, it's a good title.
And PJTW Central. Again, that's PJTW Central. Twitter, bookmark PJTWCentral.com. And you'll be seeing and hearing from me this Friday for Peter Talks SmackDown.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. On behalf of Jake, you got any last words?
Later.
Hey, by the way, shouts to all the Twitter homies and all the people who are listening and subscribing and all that
Shout out
stuff.
to Gouge Wrestling, Gouge Pro, promotion out of Raleigh that's been showing me a lot of love on Twitter.
Nice.
Seymour Snott, he trained a lot of guys in NXT and worked with a lot of. He trained with like Spike Dudley and Crash Holly in the same group and same group as John Cena, same school. And I actually got an interview with him on Fast in the World podcast a few weeks ago, and we're looking to do more stuff with him. And he wrestles for Gouge Pro, so shout out to all of them.
You done?
It's just coming with me, man.
I know.
Coming to me.
I'm fucking
GorillaPress.com. They put on Fast in the World on their website.
Well, I hope they put fucking PJTW on that song, bitch. You want to give them shout outs? Shit. Goddamn. I feel left out here. Well, anyway. Thank you again. And you'll hear from us in a bit from Fast in the World, Peter Talks SmackDown. Other than that, we'll see you till then. Enjoy the rest of your week. Don't mail it in tomorrow. It's only Thursday. Don't mail it in yet. Wait till Friday.
Hell yeah.
All right, peace.
You have been listening to Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling Podcast. Please tune in next week.
Come on, y'all, get live, get all get live in this thing.